Hallo zusammen. Today we definitely need to talk about the Rammstein song Armee der Tristen, its German lyrics and what this song could be about. So let's do that. I've already made a few other videos about this album and songs off of it, including the music videos that have been released and a full album reaction. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do that in the end card. But now to Armee der Tristen. A little disclaimer before I'm going to talk about this song more in depth. This song may also tackle depression and similar topics, just so you know. The title, Armee der Tristen, translates to Army of the Dreary, or Dreary Ones, or dull, for die Armee, singular, die Armeen, plural, the army, and trist, dreary, dull, or sad. It could be interpreted as a hymn, an ode to people feeling sad, afraid, or even depressed. In that sense, it highlights that those people are not alone and that they may be able to overcome their problems if they shared their feelings with one another and grew out of them. Throughout the song, the lyrical eye also seems to have suffered from feeling sad or dull, demotivated, but not to the extent of maybe other people. At least that's what I'm feeling, because it actually invites others to be sad with them. That's basically the context of the first verse. Bist du traurig? So wie ich? Dir laufen Tränen vom Gesicht? Komm zu uns und reih dich ein. Wir wollen zusammen traurig sein. What's interesting about the structure of this song, if you know it already and you listen to it again, is after the first few lines, there is a little hint at the chorus, you know, komm mit, come along, come with me, you know, join in, even though it's not the chorus yet. But you could think that. So the hook, the song's hook, the meat of the song is laid out directly, and it's a really strong one because once again, and Rammstein are really good at that, they deliver a hook that is sing-alongable. Even if you're not a native speaker, it's 2 or maybe 3 words at a max around that, and everyone can sing along. And of course, it also underlines this "you are not alone, let's join in, join forces and be strong together" idea that is implemented in the song, or at least you could interpret it that way. In line 1, I thought about other potential ways to translate so wie ich to English. And another, even though linguistically freer option would be, are you as sad as me? It's important to note how the English so and the German so differ in meaning quite a lot, even though they are spelled the same. And the same is true for also or also in both languages. I actually talked about that in an older video before, so check that out in the end card if you're interested in finding out more. The third line mentions the conjugated verb sich einreihen, reih dich ein, which can be translated in 2 different ways depending on the context. Here, I guess it rather means join us or join in the sense of join us who also feel the same. Open your heart and trust us. And if you can trust in us, you can also trust in yourself actually. In terms of an actual cue, which is die Warteschlange, singular, die Warteschlangen, plural, literally the waiting snake, or simply die Schlange, the snake in German. You could also translate it to "encue yourself." The fourth line basically sums up a fundamental idea of the song, I think, which also is referring to a German saying that we have. Geteiltes Leid ist halbes Leid. Separated or cut in half, suffering is half the suffering. Not only does that make sense when you think about it, because, you know, when you cut something in half, you know, it's just the half of it. But in this case, it also means, you know, when you talk to someone about your problems and when you share your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions with someone, it makes dealing and coping with those problems better and easier for yourself. Because you're not alone in your suffering anymore. That's the basic idea behind it. So it's a very positive thing. Instead of the chorus though, the song continues with the second verse. Warum stehst du noch am Rande? Reih dich ein in unsere Bande. Wenn wir dann im Trist marschieren, gar nichts, nichts kann dir passieren. The expression am Rande stehen or am Rand stehen gave me some trouble translating it properly because saying standing on the edge or border of something may create the semantic imagery of standing at the edge of a steep cliff, for instance, or something, as opposed to just standing on the side, not joining in, hesitating, which seems to be conveyed here. So if you want to translate it literally, it could actually seem way more drastic than it may be meant here. And by the way, a little spoken versus written German detail. The first E in unsere may get dropped when speaking. Some people say unsere, but others also say unsere, and in that case, the first E gets dropped. Unsere versus unsere. It's funny how short you can translate the second line to English. You know, just say, join our gang. That's basically it. Line 3 refers back to the song's title, even though the phrasing is very poetic because of the nominalization of the adjective trist, dreary, and the additional preposition in, which almost makes the trist sound as if it was a location or a spot to walk in or to. Das Triste, the dreary, meaning the dreary situation, mood, etc. It's interesting when you look at it in a literal way, because Armee der Tristen would translate to Army of the Dreary Ones. However, marching, which is related to, being an army and the military context here, which is implied, I guess, in a way as well, suggests, at least I think, an active, motivated, and, going for it motion. You enjoy marching in a group. It's something that strengthens your bond. Which also harkens back to what I just said before, geteiltes Leid ist halbes Leid. Anyway, you could also say it's kind of a paradox, because how can marching be dreary? The last two lines are basically connected, and with that said, it may mean when or as long as we march together, maybe also in the aforementioned sense of sharing our feelings and being open about them. That shared experience also makes us stronger and helps us cope with the situation together, as opposed to alone, and maybe not succeeding that way. And now, the chorus actually follows. Oh wait, no, there's actually a little pre-chorus following up on the just mentioned semantics. Hand in Hand, nie mehr allein. Hand in Hand, kein Blick zurück. Komm, wir schließen unsere Reihen, marschieren im Gleichschritt gegen Glück. What's interesting about this verse, when you stay within the context of my interpretation, is that here an additional element of separation comes into play. While the group of sad people try to gain strength and hope through becoming that group and sharing their feelings, they also want to make sure to close their ranks and at the same time to prevent outer influences or potentially disrupting elements that may worsen their condition. Now, while I can understand that choice from their perspective, I also think that closing up like that may also be counterproductive in a way, since I personally believe that for at least a few people and problems, you just need to allow professional help from outside to come in and help you that way. It's also interesting linguistically speaking, since there's a perspective shift in the use of wir, we, now speaking as a collective, not as someone looking at that group from the outside, a single person. In a completely different interpretation, maybe one that's more rooted in politics, swimming against majority opinions, creating your own truth about the world, alternative truths, etc., this may also be seen as describing or observing the behavior of some people. Come whatever may, by the way, great Stone Sour album, they stick to their own opinions, interpretations, rules, truths. Some even radicalize themselves, and no matter what happens, they disagree with any other alternative opinion or different point of view by default. In this scenario, the marching reference may as well refer to protest marches against politics and whatnot. Komm mit! Reih dich ein! Komm mit! Im Gleichschritt! Komm mit! Reih dich ein! Und komm mit! Im Gleichschritt. The, depending on the perspective, either friendly, inviting or drastically demanding, reih dich ein, join in, is another ambiguous phrasing, which I really like, because ambiguity is awesome. It enriches a song semantically. The military-based noun der Gleichschritt, in lockstep, may also underline that strictness and rigorousness of being stuck to a certain perspective or state of mind. The following bridge rather makes me think the primary focus of the lyrics could rather be the second, more political option, not just because it mentions die Partei der Hoffnungslosen, the party of the hopeless, even though party could also simply mean group of people. Depressiv, betrübt, zerschlagen sollten wir zusammen verzagen. Deprimiert und melancholisch, pessimistisch, diabolisch. Gründen auf verblühten Rosen, die Partei der Hoffnungslosen. Werde Mitglied, trete ein. Jeder darf es sein. Herein! Line 2 can be both a continuation of the first line, but it can also be a separate question referring back to the attributes in the first line, being a slight reflective moment. Should we really remain depressed, saddened, shattered, or should we overthink this? Lines 5 and 6 belong together, with line 5 being elliptic and missing the third person plural personal pronoun wir, we. Wir gründen auf verblühten Rosen die Partei der Hoffnungslosen. This elliptic structure, though, is more poetic, a very typical Till Lindemann thing. And in standard German, you'd rather say, wir gründen die Partei der Hoffnungslosen auf verblühten Rosen. It still rhymes, but the emphasis is shifted because the founding on faded roses comes last in this German translation. That metaphor could refer to lost hopes, wishes that didn't come true, withered love, or the like, and that being a huge factor in feeling so sad or even depressed. In that context, the second to last line stresses how this can happen to everyone. No one is immune to feeling sad, making bad experiences in life, or suffering from depression, and because that is, no one should be ashamed to admit that, even though it may be hard. And while that once again sounds quite sad but true, a little Metallica reference here, it can also be seen as something that may help you cope with things, because in fact you are not alone, and there is help on the horizon if you need it, and you're ready for it. You can embrace it. Amida Tristan is a song with a fundamental and emotional foundation that each listener can build something onto in terms of which kind of structure or semantic architecture they take out of the melodies, the lyrics, or the arrangement. Once again, a great tune. I don't know what you feel about this song. Feel free to tell me in the comments because I sure would love to know. And of course, if you enjoyed this video or my videos on YouTube, let me know by leaving a like, by sharing the video, by commenting. And of course, if you haven't done that yet, by subscribing to the channel for free and activating the bell so you won't miss out on any future videos or live streams. And you can support me and my work on YouTube on patreon.com/Davenutley. You can find a link to that in the video description down below. That really makes a difference and helps a whole lot. So thank you very much. Thanks to my patrons, thanks to my channel members, and to everyone supporting this channel in various ways. It truly means something. And those of you who have been watching for a long time, you will know that, and I keep saying it, but I mean it. I don't take that for granted. Anyway, thanks for watching everyone. Definitely see you next time around. Tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal.